Most people think confidence is loud, speaking a lot, being bold, being seen, but real confidence is quiet. It does not need attention, it does not need approval, it simply exists. Confidence is not built outside, it starts inside. How you think, how you see yourself, how you talk to yourself. Because before the world sees you, you see yourself first. Confident people trust themselves, not perfectly, but enough. Enough to make decisions, enough to take action, enough to move forward, even when unsure. They don't wait to be perfect, they act anyway. They understand perfection is impossible. Progress is what matters. Many people depend on others' validation, likes, opinions, but confident people do not rely on that. They value themselves. Confidence grows in a solitude. When you are alone, you meet yourself, and confident people are okay with that. They don't blame, they don't avoid, they take responsibility for their actions, for their choices, for their life, and that creates power. Negative thoughts comes, but they don't stay. Confident people notices them and they redirect them because they understand your thoughts shape your reality. Confidence is not the absence of fear, it is action in the presence of fear. They feel it, but they move anyway. They know their limits, what they accept, what they reject, and they are not afraid to say no. They don't chase perfection, they chase improvement. Every day a little better. Fear does not stop them, it teaches them. They adjust, they improve, they continue. They don't talk to impress, they speak with purpose. Calm, clear, direct. Confidence grows through action, repeated action, daily habits, small wins, and over time it builds. Confidence is not something you are born with, it's something you build step by step. There comes a moment when you stop asking for permission, not for others, but for yourself. You stop waiting to feel ready, you stop waiting to feel perfect, and you act. That moment is where confidence begins to grow. You don't become confident by thinking, you become confident by doing, trying, failing, trying again. Every action sends a message to your mind, I can handle this, and slowly that belief becomes real. Confidence grows when you trust yourself, and you trust yourself when you do what you said you would do. Small promises, wake up on time, finish your work, stay consistent, because every kept promise builds self-respect. Confidence is not just in the mind, it is in the body. How you stand, how you walk, how you look at people. Confident people move with calm, not rushed, not nervous, just present. They don't hide, they don't shrink, they allow themselves to exist fully, to speak, to show up, to take space, because they understand they deserve to be there. Confidence does not grow in comfort, it grows in challenge, awkward moments, new situations, uncertainty. And instead of avoiding them, they face them. Comparison destroys confidence. Confident people understand this. They focus on themselves, their growth, their path, because your journey is yours alone. Perfection is pressure. Confidence is freedom. They allow mistakes, they accept flaws, because they know they don't need to be powerful. When they speak, they are clear, not rushed, not unsure. They say what they mean, and that clarity comes from inner belief. Confidence is not one big moment, it is daily discipline. Showing up, doing the work, staying consistent, even when no one is watching. Self-respect changes everything. How you speak, how you act, what you accept. When you respect yourself, others feel it. People will judge, that is reality. But confident people do not let that control them. They act anyway because they understand judgment is unavoidable, but regret is worse. They don't waste energy on things they cannot change. Other people's opinion, external situations. They focus inward, their actions, their mindset, their effort. Imagine yourself confident, calm, focused, unshaken, no overthinking, no self-doubt, just clarity. That version of you is built daily. So listen carefully. Confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you create through action, through discipline, through self-respect. You don't become confident, then take action. You take action and become confident. So start now. Speak, move, try, even if you feel unsure. Because one day you will look back and realize confidence was never something you lacked. It was something you never practiced.